Okay, welcome to edgeofcode.com's series of infinite roller tutorials. You can find a written tutorial if you prefer at edgeofcode.com. So in the previous tutorial we made the terrain infinite and started writing a character controller. Today we'll make the camera follow the character and add in the functionality to make the character jump. So first open your infinite roller project and the scene if it's not already open, and then go to the scripts folder and create a new C# script called camera follow and open it. And then let's move that down and delete the contents. So this class will be attached to the camera and will make the camera follow the character. So for this we need a public variable to represent the character. We need the transform information, and I'll call it follow target. And I'll add a comment. So this is the object the camera should follow. This transform is the class name of the transform that we've talked about before. So it's the class name of this part of a game object. And by using transform, we have direct access then to the position, rotation, and scale. So after you save this, go back to Unity and click on main camera, and then drag camera follow in the inspector, and drag the character game object into the follow target slot, and then go back. So what else do we need? We want a variable to store the position of the camera, and that position will be updated each frame. So it's a vector 3 because a position is a vector 3. We're going to update it on each frame, so we need an update method. And we want to set the new camera position variable to be a new vector 3. We want the x and the y position to be the x and the y position of the character, which is the follow target variable. The z position, we want to keep it as what the position of the camera is. So the x and y will be follow target dot position dot x for this one and dot y for this one. And the z part will just be transform dot position dot z, which is the camera's one. So yeah, this transform accesses the transform of the object that the script is attached to, which is the camera's position. Okay, now we need to actually assign that. So transform.position, so the position of the camera now equals new camera position, and save it. So this should hopefully work now. If we go back to Unity and press play, then the camera should follow the character as it goes along. Yay. Okay, let's stop that. I think this is a bit close though, so I'm gonna zoom out a bit. Oh, no, okay. So this is an orthographic camera, so I want to change size and change this to 10. Okay, I'm just gonna do that again. So there we go, we can see a bit more of it this time. So yeah, not very interesting so far, but next we're going to add jump functionality to the character controller. Okay, first create a new public variable. So notice that I'm put these in order, so the public ones will go at the top and then the private ones, it's just convention really, it's nothing more than that. But I'm going to make a public int called jump up force, because it's the value of the force that we're going to apply to the rigid body of the character in an upwards direction. And I'm going to give it a value of 450, but I've made it public so that we can change that in the inspector if we want to. Next actually I'm just going to add a comment to that. Set the force of the jump. And now I'm going to create a private bool variable called jump, and this one will be to check if we've jumped. So when we press whatever the jump button is, we want to set this jump variable to be true. When we're not pressing the jump button, then it should be false. And so we can make this work across platforms and by cross platforms I mean, so like on desktop or on a mobile device, by importing Unity's cross-platform input asset package. To do this, go back to the project panel, assets, right click and import package, cross-platform input, and then click import when this comes up. And it will give us access to some extra scripts like cross-platform input manager, which is what we want to use. Okay, so next add an update method, because on each frame we want to check if we've pressed the jump button or not. So I'm gonna write first, these are in what's called a different namespace to the other. Save. These are in a different namespace to the other things, so which means that we need to put a using statement at the top of the rolling character controller class so that we can access this class inside the namespace. So type in using, what was it? Unity standard assets. Okay, it's not doing it automatically, so I'm just going to copy this and paste it here, and that should give us access to the cross-platform input manager class. Okay, so inside update, so autocomplete should be popping up, but it's not for now. Maybe if I save it. Nope. Okay, well, it will come up with an error if I've done something wrong later. So type in cross-platform input manager and dot. Then the method is get button down, I think. So when you press the jump button, it's going to know we're looking for the jump button because we passed in jump as a parameter. And this jump is set by Unity and is different for different platforms. So on a desktop, I think it's space. On a mobile device, it's pressing the screen. And also this gives you back a Boolean value, and it's true if we pressed it. So we want to assign this to jump. So yeah, when we press the jump button, whatever it is on whatever platform, jump will be set to be true. Okay, in fixed update, we then want to add a force to the rigid body. So if we've pressed jump, then it's set to true, so it will go inside this if statement. And then we want to add force to the rigid body. Force takes a vector2, so create a new vector2 variable. In the x direction it's 0 because we don't want to add a force when we jump in the x direction. and in the Y direction it's our variable jump force. And then we also want to add that jump is now false because we'd already jumped. The reason that we need to do this is fixed update could run more often than update. So every frame update runs, it looks to see if we've pressed jump or not. When we have pressed jump, jump is true. And then in the next fixed update method, when that's called, we add a force. If we didn't then set this to be false, fixed update might be called again before update is called and jump is set to false because we haven't pressed the button. So if that's the case, if fixed update is called again, then it would add another force. And we don't want it to do that, so we set jump to be false. Okay, save the class and let's go back and see if it's complaining about cross-platform input manager. It's not, but there is another message here. Rigid body 2D hides inherited member. Okay, this is an obsolete message from Unity. In previous versions of Unity, rigid body, things like rigid body and rigid body 2D, things that you might find attached to a game object, were exposed in monobehavior. So because our rolling character controller class is a subclass of monobehavior, then we would be able to access the monobehavior's rigid body reference. But they're not exposed anymore in Unity 5, which means that we need to find the component ourselves and set the value of our rigid body. They just haven't removed the message warning us about this. And it thinks that by calling something rigid body in our class, we're hiding any functionality that we would get from inheriting that variable from the monobehavior. So basically all that means is ignore this message. Let's see if that works. So let's go back to Unity and press play. And pressing space makes the character jump. So one problem that's immediately apparent is that if I press jump once, twice, lots of times, it just jumps and jumps and jumps and flies really far in the air, which is not something we want for this particular game. But we will fix that in another tutorial. Okay, so make sure you save the scene and the project. Okay, so today we created a script to make the camera follow the character and added the ability to jump. Next time, I think we'll make the terrain a bit more interesting by adding some gaps that the character needs to jump over, and we'll add character death when it falls through the gaps. Remember, you can download files for this tutorial at edgeofcode.com on the downloads page, and I will see you next time.